The scene changes dramatically in the fourth movement. Palpakiwis, in an act of malice, has destroyed Hiawatha's mountain chickens. And for the American Indians, where animal life is sacred, this just throws the whole village into confusion, something that Hiawatha won't stand for. And he declares right then that he's going to catch and slay this mischief maker, Palpakiwis. And so we have here in this movement a grand chase scene. And Palpakiwis is desperately struggling to get away, and he goes to the lake and he communes with the beaver and tries to swim away into the water. But Hiawatha is relentless in his pursuit, and he catches up with him, but whereupon he looks up, and there's Palpakiwis flying above in the mountains. And yet Hiawatha stays on his track, and Palpakiwis becomes so desperate that he hides in a crevice of the mountain. Whereupon Hiawatha storms the mountain, literally, and the mountain tumbles down, and Palpakiwis is slayed while it's tumbling. And the end of the symphony is sometimes taken to represent Hiawatha himself, whose earthly adventures now have reached their end, and he's achieved something of an apotheosis himself, is crossing over into a great campground. Full of wrath was Hiawatha when he came into the village, found the people in confusion, heard of all the misdemeanors, all the malice and the mischief of the cunning Palpakiwis. Through his teeth he buzzed and muttered words of anger and resentment. I will slay this Palpakiwis, slay this mischief maker. Not so long and wide the world that my wrath shall not attain him. And the chase begins. Over rock and over river, through the bush and brake and forest, ran the cunning Palpakiwis. Like an antelope he bounded till he came into a streamlet in the middle of the forest. Now listen for the symbol, more magic. And he spake unto the beaver with a smile, he spoke in this way. Cool and pleasant is the water. Let me dive into the water. Let me rest there in your lodges. But the chase continues. Saw the wings of Palpakiwis flapping up in the ether? And behind it, as the rain comes, came the steps of Hiawatha. soon Hiawatha overtakes and kills Palpakiwis. He corners him in the mountain. Open! I am Hiawatha! But the old man of the mountain opened not, and made no answer from the silent crags of sandstone. Open! I am Hiawatha! Then he raised his hands to heaven, called imploring on the tempest, called Wewasimo the lightning and the thunder and Amike, and they came with night and darkness, sweeping down the big sea water from the distant thunder mountains. And the trembling Papakiwis heard the footsteps of the thunder, saw the red eyes of the lightning, was afraid and crouched and trembled. Then Wewasimo the lightning smote the doorways of the caverns with his war club, smote the doorways, smote the jutting crags of sandstone. And the thunder and Amike shouted into the caverns, "Where is Palpakiwis?" And the crags fell, and beneath them, dead among the rocky ruins, lay the cunning Palpakiwis, lay the handsome Yenadize, now in his human form. While we can't really be certain about Dvorak's sources of inspiration, we can revel in his vision. For Dvorak, America was still about wide open spaces, about commingling of the races, and finally about optimism and opportunity. He wrote about these matters in an article published in Harper's Magazine in February 1895, just 2 months before he sailed back home. He wrote, "The important thing about folk songs is to rejoice over their existence. It matters little whether American folk songs are derived from Negro melodies, the songs of the Creoles, the red man's chants, or the plaintive ditties of the homesick Germans. Wherever the original songs came from, whether from Africa or from the plantations, the thing is to rejoice that such lovely songs indeed exist. The germs for the best of music lie hidden among all the races, that are commingled in this great country. I hope you've enjoyed this brief look at Antonin Dvorak and his New World Symphony, and that it opens new worlds for you. Thank you.
What an amazing performance by the Altoona Symphony Orchestra, directed by Teresa Chung, and for a wonderful dramatic reading by Carl Middleman. We have been learning so much. We've got some more questions from our audience, but Teresa, I have a question for you first, and that is, this whole project is really a collaboration between you and Carl. Tell us how that collaboration came to be.
Well, Carl and I met at the Bard Music Festival, which is a place that I've spent 7 to 8 years. This is my 8th season going into it. So he usually comes up just to listen to all the lectures and then all the really wonderful concerts. So he crashed a party. He came into the party that we were having at the year-end closing party. And he just sat next to me and he said, you know what? I realize that you're a conductor for the Altoona Symphony. Do you know that I'm actually going to be giving a lecture at the Mishra Theater? I said, wow, that's wonderful. I said, that's a wonderful space. And he started to tell me more about it. And the more I listened to what he does, because I know of his interest at Bard Music Festival, I know that he's a great scholar and he's a great intellect. But he also, Carl has a wonderful touch, you know, of a human touch. And when he tells a story, it's very personal. And I was very, very intrigued and attracted by it. And then we started talking about this project, you know, and I was like, so usually how do you do this? He said, you know, I would tell the story, I'll talk about a piece of music, and then what I would do is I'll play some music for them. I said, well, who plays the music for you? That's how it got started. And then basically we just kind of got into it and then started talking.